call this meeting to order. If you please rise with me with a silent invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I've got a couple things I need to read here right off the bat before we move on with the agenda. First one, the city would like to clarify its relationship with nonprofit organizations that host events on city property and explain the city's role in supporting these community
You want to send it
activities.
to me and I can send it to him?
The city values the many nonprofit organizations that contribute to the quality of life in our community by organized
255.
events, celebrations,
1623.
and programs that
And then
bring
go get right
residents together. These events provide opportunities for community engagement and are an important part of what makes Othello a vibrant place to live. While the city may authorize the use of city-owned property for these events, nonprofit organizations operated as independent entities with their own governing boards, leadership, staff, volunteers, and policies are such. They are solely responsible for planning, organizing, and managing and conducting their events. This includes decisions regarding attractions, vendors, entertainment, programming, volunteers, staffing, and the conduct of those acting on behalf of the organization. Because these organizations operate independently, the city does not accept responsibility for their decisions or the conduct of individuals at these events. Approval of using city property should not be interpreted as city sponsorship or oversight of the events, operations, or actions of its representatives. Responsibility for addressing operational issues, personnel matters, behavioral issues, or event management rest with the nonprofit organization hosting the event. Citizens are encouraged to bring up these matters with the host board or leadership. The city takes concerns raised by residents seriously. The city remains committed to working collaboratively with community organizations while ensuring that public spaces are used responsibly and in the manner that serves the best interest of the community. Thank you. Now, this is the time to hear from our community. We welcome your comments, which are very important to us. Please go to the podium when recognized and give your name for the record. Address your comments to the council as a whole, not independently. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. You may not donate your time to another speaker. We will not enter into a dialogue at this time. The purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the council, about your concerns and views. So at this time, do we have any public input? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Name's James Lewis or Jim Lewis. I know that the city voted down on the new pool initiative or whatever. A while back, I was talking with a neighbor up in Cleellum, Dan Hoskins. He works for BM Group out of Seattle, and they go all over the world. He's worked on Hoover Dam. He's worked on Shaquille O'Neal's pool. All he does is fill in voids in concrete. You might want to give him or his company a call. I mean, he's moved 28 by 42 concrete blocks, 8 feet, with his whatever he uses, and slid things over with it. If you look at About Us, I brought you his card. I mean, he might be able to fix our pool, when I told him, yeah, the new pool was supposed to cost something like 14 million. He goes, I'd only charge 11. That'd be one heck of a raise for me, but it ain't gonna cost that much. So who do I give the
If you want
card?
to give that to Robin, that would be great. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for my time, and I hope that you guys at least consider it.
Okay. Jake, I believe you rose your hand.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jake Mendes Jr. I'm a civil rights activist, an ACLU Washington member, and an NAACP member as well.
Hey,
I
Jake,
appreciate
Jake,
that.
We
can you
can't hear.
lift it back up? It was better
There you
higher.
go.
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate that early statement regarding nonprofits. However, I do want to remind the community that they have a First Amendment constitutional right to record on public property. Even nonprofit employees and other organizations that are going to host events. This way we can hold them accountable for any of their actions, whether if it be verbal or physical. And that's what I intend to do as well at this movie night event, just for my observation and documentary as well, so the community could be aware of that and see that. It is our First Amendment constitutional right to record, to assembly, freedom of the press on public property. There's no expectation of privacy on public parks. No matter how you feel, no matter how you're, wanting to not be on camera, that's just part of the way it is, part of our constitutional rights to record. However, I do like to wish some way on the application that is written in black and white that they are held accountable for any actions that there's evidence of, whether if it be discrimination, harassment, any physical assault that's proven by, or any, video cam footage as well, or anyone documenting this. So that's the reason why I wanted to advise the community that they have the right to do that. And even though this is the alleged assault that, someone had spoken here prior to this meeting against Chamber of Commerce manager who's present here. But I do appreciate her speaking up, because this is the reason why we bring light to this here in the community of Othello. So this way we can understand their actions, regardless of who they're related to, family connection wise. It shouldn't be an excuse for them to get away with this, rather if this be the first time or the many times that they've gone away from doing this. I think it's pathetic, in my honest opinion. I think it's ridiculous, and it's really stupid to think that, you have this reputation being a nonprofit, no matter who you are, thinking you have this relationship connection here at the city office, thinking you have this privilege to get away with it. I, for one, if I had evidence, I would have pressed charges to the full extent of the law, regardless. I don't care who you are. You could be my own cousin as well. I will still press charges on you. But I just wanted to make aware, also with e-bikes and e-motorcycles that's been going on here in town, and also four-wheelers. They've been reportedly going on at high rate of speed through intersections without the safety of others or themselves. This will cause serious damage and danger to the rest of the community, pedestrians, and children, especially walking to school, either from school, to school, or from any public events whatsoever. I would like to address the community and the city council and the police department about that. And we need to spread awareness and start a conversation. And it's solely up to the parents to have that conversation with their children or guardians of the safety and the laws of the land that, allows them to ride that. And safety helmets, that are required for it, for any speeds, I think 15 to 20 above, miles per hour above. And also, I just hope the future of the swimming pool prevails when it comes to our elections coming November, I think, for this April levy. I just hope there's a good turnout. And that's what I want to address. And this is something that's very important for all these three topics. It's something that we need to be aware, something that we need to be advised, and something that we need to spread.
Jake, your
Okay, sorry.
time is
My
up.
time's up. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay.
Ken, the young lady back there raised her hand.
She's in the back. There she
Oh,
is.
okay, right there.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kenya Luna, a recent OHS graduate, a proud resident, and community member of Othello. I just wanted to address a concern I and others have noticed. Lions Park has been a pillar of our community since I can remember. Recently, I've been frequenting the park, especially the tennis and pickleball courts. It has become a place where people can relax after a day of work, and I have noticed many who do so. My concern revolves around the lights that don't work. We all know the summer heat can be unbearable, so many people go in the evenings. However, at a certain point, it becomes impossible to play or even see due to the lack of lighting in the area. Not only is this an inconvenience, but it can also become a safety issue. It is amazing what the city has already done to improve Lions Park, but I believe we can make it even better. The basketball court lights work, and I have noticed the number of people who have hosted matches and even tournaments. This is what the community needs, more places for people to get together and have fun. And adding working lights would be a step in that direction. We even have people out of town that have acknowledged the park and admire it. I just want the city to address this concern because I know I'm not the only one who has brought this matter to attention. What can we, the community, do to make this happen? That is all. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Is there any further public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will go to roll call. Angel did call me today and said that he's been under the weather after his mission trip. And Mr. Barnes is joining us remotely online. He is listening to the meeting tonight. With that, all of the council members are present. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to excuse Councilman Garza.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carries. Now we will go on to the approval of the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda.
We got a first and second. Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carries. Now we'll go on to the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Darrell. Any opposed? So carries. Okay, now we get to go on to our current business. What a lot of people are here tonight for is the swearing in of two new sergeants, Stephen Perez and Rafael Vargas.
Test, test.
So I want to start by thanking everybody for being here, for Sergeant Perez and Sergeant Vargas. I've said it before in the past, if it wasn't for our family and friends, we probably wouldn't be standing up here. So I'll read Sergeant Perez's bio real quick. We'll get him sworn in and then we'll say a couple words. Sergeant Stephen Perez began his career in law enforcement in 2013 as a correctional officer with the Walla Walla County Sheriff's Office. In 2014, he became a police officer and has since dedicated 13 years to serving the community with professionalism, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to public safety. In 2021, Perez was appointed to the Investigations Division as a detective, where he was responsible for investigating complex and high-profile cases involving homicides, child sexual exploitation, sexual assaults, human trafficking, narcotics trafficking, and gang-related crimes. During his tenure, he participated in numerous undercover operations and collaborated extensively with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies across Washington, Oregon, and Alaska, strengthening multi-jurisdictional efforts to combat violent and organized criminal activity. Perez's investigative expertise has led to opportunities to train hundreds of law enforcement professionals nationwide. He has instructed police officers, detectives, and correctional staff on gang investigations, human trafficking investigations, and both at the local and regional levels, providing training throughout the Western United States, including California, Idaho, Washington, and Montana. In 2024, Perez was elected to serve as a task force officer with the Department of Homeland Security Investigations, specializing in internet crimes against children, further expanding his experience in complex criminal investigations and multi-agency collaboration. Today, Perez is honored to be promoted to the rank of sergeant. He looks forward to leading with integrity, mentoring the next generation of officers, and continuing to uphold the department's commitment to protecting the community through professionalism, accountability, and excellence. Perez would like to express his sincere gratitude to his family, mentors, supervisors, administration, and colleagues for their unwavering support and encouragement throughout his career. He is honored by the opportunity to continue serving the Othello community in his new role as sergeant. So today, his son and daughter, Nico and Maddie, will be pinning him today.
One more picture. Now I will administer the oath of office. Please just raise your right hand. I, Stephen Perez, do solemnly swear
I, Stephen Perez, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Othello, Washington.
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Othello, Washington,
And I abide by the law enforcement code of ethics
and abide by the law enforcement code of ethics
as adopted by the Othello Police Department,
as adopted by the Othello Police Department,
that I will faithfully and honestly and impartially
that I will faithfully and honestly and impartially
perform and discharge the duties of the patrol sergeant
perform and discharge the duties of the patrol sergeant
during my continuance as such.
during my continuance as such.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sergeant Perez.
Thank you.
A couple words and then I'll hand the mic over to Sergeant Perez. And I just want to reiterate his bio. There's a lot on there. He did a lot of amazing stuff. And when I was his partner for about 5 or 6 years, and I had the honor of working side by side with him on all of those cases he mentioned. And this is going to sound kind of conceited and cocky, but it literally got to the point where he did such a good job. FBI agents were calling us for advice, calling him. I won't say us. I was just in the room. And they were calling him for advice on cases we were investigating, which I thought was a very surreal experience for me. And I remember we spent such long hours working together, homicides, all the cases we mentioned. And one of our homicide cases, we were honored to speak at a conference. And I remember he did his presentation, and a lot of people that knew us real well came up to us after the presentation and said, "Wow, I didn't realize how smart he actually was." And I was like, yeah. And so we were very lucky in Othello to have him. I put him up against any detective in this country. I've said that at trainings I've been to with him. I've said that to other detectives that got their feelings hurt. The only difference was we didn't have the fancy budgets that a huge metropolitan agency has in their detective bureau, but I would have put him up against anybody. And that was just because of his work ethic and drive. We spent lots of time together, side by side, and I'm very honored that he took this promotion, and we're kind of getting separation anxiety the first couple months, but we'll get through it. So I'll hand over the mic to Sergeant Perez.
Thank you for those kind words, Chief. I don't have a ton to say. I appreciate the administrations, the city council, the mayor. I appreciate the confidence you have in me to take on this role as a patrol sergeant. It's all new to me. I haven't worked the road in a long time. It's been an interesting few weeks so far when I took over on July 1st. I get asked if I'm new a lot because I had really long hair before this and I just cut it all off. So no, I'm not new. I've been here almost 10 years now. I couldn't have done it with the administration without Chief McFarland recognizing the work that I put in and putting me in positions to be successful. It's not all me. Having your supervisors and bosses in the correct places to put you in places to be successful has been huge for me in my career. Othello has been great to me during my career. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next. This is probably the youngest the department's ever been since I've been here. I don't think we have anybody over the age of 44 years old, right? Maybe. But nonetheless, that's the youngest the department's ever been. We're youthful, which means these next 2, 3, 4, 5 years are going to be awesome when these guys are fully up to speed, super experienced, and I can see the crime rates in Othello dropping drastically in the next 4 to 5 years. So we should be excited for that. I appreciate the support of my guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Front center. Rafael Vargas was born and raised in the great city of Othello. Rafael graduated from Othello High School in 2010. Rafael then went on to graduate from Central Christian College of Kansas with a bachelor's degree in science of organizational business leadership in 2016. He was hired with the Othello Police Department in 2019, where he has served for 7 years. Rafael worked in the department's patrol division, till March of 2024. In March of 2024, Rafael was assigned as a school resource officer for the Othello School District, where Rafael taught DARE classes in the elementary schools and assisted with teaching with the criminal justice classes at the Othello High School. In 2026, Rafael was appointed to sergeant and officially began his role in July of 2026. Rafael returns to the department's patrol division, goal of continuing to serve his community in a different capacity, as well as serving his partners and teammates in a supervisory role. Rafael's training consists of certified drone pilot, school resource officer basic, CPR instructor, DARE instructor, field training officer, FTO, and among other things. And today, his wife will be paying.
Sergeant, now I will administer the oath of office. Please raise your right hand. I, Rafael Vargas, do solemnly swear
I, Rafael Vargas, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Washington
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Othello,
and the charter and the ordinances of the city of Othello,
and abide by the law enforcement code of ethics
and abide by the law enforcement code of ethics
as adopted by Othello Police Department,
as adopted by the Othello Police Department.
that I will faithfully and honestly and impartially
I will faithfully and honestly and impartially
perform and discharge the duties of the patrol sergeant
perform and discharge the duties of a patrol sergeant
during my continuance as such.
during my continuance as such.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sergeant Vargas.
Thank you.
I'll say a couple words for Sergeant Vargas real quick, and then I'll hand the mic over to him. Again, thank you for family and friends being here for him. It means a lot to us to have this kind of support. And so I've worked with Vargas for 7 years. One of the things I've always admired about, I think I was a patrol sergeant when he got here, so I got to watch him progress throughout his career, and I think he was even in my car for a while, not to age myself. I am older than 44, by the way. But he's just done a fantastic job. And he's one of those guys you can ask him, you can go to him for just about anything and he'll do it for you. One of the things that we probably have to have him do is help out with DARE again this next school year. And he, without even blinking, he just, nope, yep, I'll do whatever you need, boss. So he's one of those guys. So it's a real high honor to have him here with us. And I'm very, very proud of him and thankful he took this sergeant promotion. I look forward to what the future has for us. So I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I really don't have a lot either to say. Try to keep it short and sweet as possible because I got to go work my shift here in a bit. But first of all, I want to acknowledge and give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Through a lot that I've been through, that I've gone through to try to get to this point, I know that he's always been there with me. And not only that, but I want to give thanks and also actually just give thanks to my wife Annette, because she's been with me through this whole thing since I started to the point of now. And she's kind of got the gist of what this career entails, right? We see a lot of things. We deal with a lot of different people. And, you know, sometimes we see things differently and things like that. And she's been my greatest supporter. She was super excited with me. Once I told her, like, hey, I got the promotion, she knew that this was something that I was after for the longest time. And so just having her being here with me and just giving me that support, it just meant a lot to me. I also got my little 3-year-old out there. He was over there, the one that was chatting a lot. Yeah, he's a good talker. He's one of the reasons also as to why I wanted to keep pushing forward and keep going. Because I want to give him the best that I can, and I want him to see Daddy be like, he's the coolest, the coolest cop in the world. And not only that, I want to appreciate, administration, Chief McFarland, Assistant Chief Mendoza, City Council, Mayor Johnson. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I look forward to continue serving my community that I was born in, right? With that front foot forward and giving my best and my all. And also I look forward to working with all the guys again. Same thing. I was off the road for about 2.5, 3 years. So I'm just trying to get my legs back together. So just be patient with us. But you guys are going to see that it's going to be an awesome, awesome time for the next couple of years. And let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give everybody a chance to clear if they didn't want to stick around for the rest of the meeting. I missed the first half. Daryl hooked up. Okay. Okay. With that, we will go on to agenda item C. And this is recognizing one of our own council members. The City of Othello is proud to recognize Councilwoman Camp for earning the Association of Washington Cities AWC Certificate of Municipal Leadership. This recognition is awarded to elected officials who demonstrate a strong commitment to professional development, effective governance, and serving our communities through continued education. The Certificate of Municipal Leadership is earned by completing a minimum of 30 CML credits in 5 competency areas to include legal, budgetary, land use, community, and leadership. By investing the time and effort to complete this program, Councilwoman Camp has strengthened her knowledge and skills necessary to better serve the residents of Othello. Her dedication to learning reflects a commitment to transparent, informed, and responsible leadership. Congratulations to Councilwoman Camp on the outstanding achievement. The city appreciates her commitment to excellence and her continued dedication to serving the citizens of Othello. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
And doing it within 6 months has been a great accomplishment too. I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's
It
been a
is
lot of really
work.
good learning. So it's been great. Thank you very much.
Okay. On with that, we will go on to ordinance number 1651. This was first brought to council at the last meeting, a franchise agreement. Now it's being brought back to the council for passage tonight. Was there any discussion or comments after? Okay, at this time, then I will entertain a motion for,
I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1651, a franchise agreement between the City of Othello and NFC Northwest LLC.
Second.
got a first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Daryl. And any opposed? Okay, so carries. Okay, now we will go on to facility use agreements. Valerie.
Good evening. So today I have about 4 that we're going to be presenting, so bear with me. It'll be somewhat repetitive, but I will share the differences. So first off, we're going to start off with the Foursquare Tent Revival. The Othello Foursquare Church is requesting approval to host a public outdoor tent revival at Lions Park. Public event dates will be September 30th through the October 4th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. each evening, featuring prayer, worship, and preaching focused on community well-being. Setup begins September 28th with the installation of a 60 by 120-foot tent, and teardown will be October 4th. Due to the size of the tent and potential wind conditions we've been having, and even in the past, we ask for a variance to allow 44 large stakes to ensure the tent is staked down and safe for the public. To protect city infrastructure, the IT director has provided a map of nearby fiber lines, and public works staff will locate and mark utilities before installation of the tent. Before Public Works will also assist with electrical setup trash disposal, and restroom maintenance during work hours. The church is also requesting permission to park one RV on site to accommodate 2 overnight volunteers to provide event security for their own equipment. There is a nonprofit event fee for September 28th. So this includes the setup days and reservation for those days through October 4th. That totals $1,002.75 with a damage deposit of $541.25. Staff does recommend to approve a variance allowing the use of 44 large stakes for the tent, approve the facility use agreement between the City of Othello and Othello Foursquare Church for the use of Lions Park, and approve permission for 1 on-site RV to accommodate 2 overnight volunteers providing event security.
A motion to approve a variance allowing the use of required stakes for a 60 by 120-foot tent, and to approve the facility use agreement authorizing the Othello Foursquare Church to utilize city property, including permission for 2 volunteer members to stay overnight in an RV on site for security purposes.
Second.
We got a first and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have an item. In reviewing our agreement, when I look at this, Valerie, I realize we've had a statement about what we have, what we're responsible for as a city in that. But in reviewing this, it made me kind of have a couple of questions pop in my head. And the biggest one, and the biggest issue that I am currently struggling with, despite what was said at the beginning of our meeting, is when something does happen that is potentially viewed as problematic by our community. For example, if somebody was booked and to be on the microphone and started saying a bunch of racist things, I would definitely want us to have some sort of ability, some sort of way to address that. And there's other aspects of this that I'm also concerned about. I started, I guess, to put it in summary, what I'm looking for in this agreement is, does this agreement and how does this agreement cause a circumstance that if somebody does something that is unbecoming of the city, do we have recourse in addressing that with this agreement? And where would that be in that? And it may need further review if necessary, but I find it a little bit lacking. I would hate to have somebody do something, like I said, somebody get on the mic and say a bunch of cuss words, and then our response be, well, wasn't us. I think we could be better than that.
So you want to take responsibility for other organizations?
Does that exist in the agreement right now? Is there?
At this time, no. It is the organization's responsibility to take care of their mics, to know who's going to be on, to schedule, to have an itinerary. We have a pre-meeting with these organizations, and they give us their plan. They state why they are having their event. They state that they have volunteers and who's available. They have stations set up for resources if people don't know who they are and where they need to go. So for the city to take on that responsibility, that's a lot.
Well, I'm not saying that we necessarily take it on.
The organization does have, they have given us a lot of information and pre-planning. So it's not just, hey, we want to have an event,
right,
let's have one. We do have pre-meetings set up for that, and they give us their ideas and what their plans are.
And also a debriefing after the events happened as well.
After the
right.
events. Yeah.
But then it's already happened. I guess my question, maybe to be more precise, is, are those expectations, they don't appear in the agreement, but is there a mechanism that's already in place to make sure that even with all the things you described, things can still go off the rails. Is there
Anything,
reinforcement that that's not acceptable? You can't go off the rails. And if you do, this will suspend this agreement in the future. For example, like I said, there's a lot of, the legal ones make perfect sense, but it's the other stuff that I mean, the community is going to hold us accountable for things that go off the rails, whether we make statements to that or otherwise. If we do everything we can to make sure everyone knows up front that that's not okay, that's my only concern right now in looking at this agreement, that we're in a really hyper-reactive sort of time in our community where people take these opportunities, and it would be a shame that that wasn't understood, that there isn't some jeopardy for future events when that happens.
So are you looking for like the contract to say that if X, Y, and Z happens, then future events may be
I think you need
under
to
a
be grayer
scope
than
of
that.
sorts? Or is,
on
I mean,
that. Yeah, I think it's grayer
So I
than that.
have-
I think conduct that is unbecoming of the city really says a lot without having to define it as such, but also to reinforce that, hey, you know, if you have one of your people who you hire come up there and do something really, really bad that maybe is not illegal, you're risking your event in the future.
So
Who polices that?
Hmm?
Who polices that? Who makes a determination of what's becoming and what's not becoming? You start putting.
Well, I don't think you're in
weird
support of like
gray-
racist things being said on the mic.
And
Right, but
I
then you're
believe
gonna,
that's what, yeah.
it's
Imposing on
different
First
when it's
Amendment.
super black and white.
People
But when
have
you have something
the
that's
right
like,
to-
well, do I think it's inappropriate, but maybe you don't think it's inappropriate? Who ends up policing that and being in charge of that? And
That's a great
detailing what
question.
happens in the future?
I think
I
that,
think we get into
Sure.
some significant weeds if we try and take some of that
I
responsibility
think
on. and
response
it's
by
not
your
our
community
place.
will tell you a lot as to what that is. I mean, if there is a significant community outcry, the problem is when I went through this agreement, I do not see the mechanism to address that. And we just made a statement that it's not us, it's somebody else's problem. I'm not completely sure that's good leadership. And I'm only bringing this up because when I read through this, and actually some of the things that Jake said kind of struck me. So I was like, he might have a point there.
I just had a couple of quick thoughts, and maybe Chief McFarland can shed a little bit of light on one of these. The first thought I have is with public nuisance. We do have public nuisance laws, and if there's a group that
Exactly.
has reserves a space in the community for a specific purpose, then they have the ability to hold their event in the way that they want to hold their event. I assume, I'm not totally sure, but I assume public nuisance laws might help protect some of that, in which case our department is involved in some of that stuff. And the second thing that I would throw out there is if there's an event or an activity that year after year it's becoming a problem, and the community,
I agree.
we start getting outcry, then we can take that into consideration, or you as council can then take that into consideration with approving an event or not approving.
But I guess maybe my point is by having some language of some sort. Do I have that for you right this second? No, it's literally just popped into my head while I was listening to things. But with having that in place, that strengthens the ability to do exactly what you just said. Does it need legal review? Probably needs quite a bit of legal review, but it might be something worth considering adding, as well as it will reinforce to the people who use the public's facilities that be on your best, represent the city well, and represent it consistently. And there are things in this day and age that are not acceptable. Don't cross that line.
Mayor, Councilmember Barnes has his hand up. I didn't know if you'd seen that on Zoom.
That's not what that is.
the little hand.
So section
Member Barnes?
8.1 of the agreement says the committee and its participants shall follow city rules and all applicable laws and regulations.
So there's something in there.
Well, but it's when somebody, like, for example, coming up there and saying something which is your First Amendment right, might be very unacceptable which is completely legal to say, might be problematic for our community.
And that might be problematic for this council, and that's one reason why we're not taking on that burden to shut somebody's First Amendment right down.
I understand that, but
Maybe we don't use the word, I mean, maybe we don't say if you say something, but maybe it's more of breaking the law. If something you did at your event broke the law according to what's already put in the contract, then your next event will not be eligible.
breaking the law is very black and white. Completely understand that. I'm talking about the gray. And what sort of what sort of,
For example,
what's that?
would it be the N-word, for example?
That would work. I mean, I think there's lines
I mean,
that we have that are not, in my opinion, clearly defined as excluding, and I'm just mentioning it that before you have a disaster that happens, that we go, oh, I guess maybe we should have been more thoughtful on that. It might be good to be thoughtful now.
But I think that's what makes
In the
it
future.
gray, is that we do cross a line of telling people that we're impacting their free speech. So where do we draw the line as to what should be considered their right to say, whether it offends us or not? It's still their right to say it. Where do we draw that line?
Your gray is not my gray, is not her gray, is not his gray. We can't
That's right.
get into policing a gray area in
Free
in
speech
a
is a hard
contract.
There are items that can happen in this community where I promise you that we are not responsible for, but the community will
Would not
hold us
tolerate it.
completely
Absolutely.
responsible for it. And I think that having it defined as, again, reinforcing that some things don't cross that line is not a bad thing to have in that agreement, and to have some things tied to it. You might be told you can't have that event again in the future. And then it's no longer a decision that we have to make on the spot, but it's a decision that is made thoughtfully with purpose beforehand. I just mention it because I could see it happening.
So we're not under any onus to approve or not approve any facility agreement that gets sent to us. We can say yes or no to any of these that come to us, whether
well
we
aware.
have gray areas or not. I am absolutely 100% not comfortable with this council trying to sit and define and figure out how we're going to police a kind of gray area. These nonprofits have their own boards, they have their own structure, they have their own things that they are accountable to, and they have to follow laws as well as hold us not blameless for anything, and they have to be accountable. We cannot be accountable for their actions, and we cannot police gray areas because they cannot, by definition, be defined.
Well, I guess I wasn't saying we're going to do it today. I would say that I put this forward for consideration. And to the answer to what you're saying, we can step back and separate ourselves and say it wasn't us, or we can be leaders and lead. And that's all I'm suggesting, is that maybe we should consider this. Maybe we should consider what is the best way we want our public events to reach out and be part of the public and make sure those lines.
Councilman
Unfair for
Doros,
you to say
I'd be
that-
very cautious in trying to have the government police speech. It's a very slippery slope, and we need to, I would recommend going away from that.
I also think it's really unfair for you to say or infer that if we don't police speech or gray areas like that, that it's not good leadership, because that's not fair.
Well, everyone has their opinions.
That's true.
I agree. The breaking the law is black and white.
Correct.
It's if they violate, quote, community standards, which I don't even know the Supreme Court has defined what that is.
I don't even know what it is either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a line that intuitively they cross. It's like, that's not right. You can't say that, and that's not the standard of our community. But
Councilman Sport, it would be nice in our agreement to somehow define the ability for us to act on that instead of it being at the moment. And that's why I'm saying to be deliberate ahead of time and to be thoughtful before it happens, and have that in our agreement. So it's like, sorry, this. And that might not be possible. I don't know, but it might be worth considerations.
I
All I'm
think where
asking
those
for.
issues come up in the following year, if that organization wants to bring the event back, then the council take a deep consideration and take a look back at what happened at the previous one, even if after they have a gathering afterwards to go over everything.
Mhm.
That's up to the council the following year to determine that. I don't think it needs to be brought up in any sort of a contract, because then I think we're starting to cross some lines there, putting it into writing. So with that, I got a first and second. We've had discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Daryl. Okay, we will go on to the next facility use.
Okay. All right. Next, we have Nuestras Raíces is requesting approval to host a back-to-school resource fair at Pioneer Park on August 22nd. The event will provide free backpacks to school-age children and include community resource and informational vendors that currently include the Department of Licensing, Othello Food Bank, and Eastern Washington University. They are scheduled to set up at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The event will begin at 10 and conclude at 2 p.m. and cleanup will be immediately after. We have a special event fee of $143.25. Additional requested items that total $65 and a damage deposit of $541.25. Staff recommends the City Council approve the facility use agreement for the Nuestras Raíces Back to School Resource Fair at Pioneer Park.
Can I ask a question? I couldn't find anywhere in the paperwork. What is additional requested items?
So on page 9 on the application
Okay.
is where they can add their additional picnic tables, where they can rent different things. We have like the garbage cans that are at no cost, but there's still additional items that we need to let our public works know that we need to have additional things out there. They're requesting picnic
There it
tables,
is. I
additional
see it
picnic
now.
tables.
Thank you.
They've done this before?
Yes.
Or
At Pioneer.
Huh.
Last year.
That's a terrible spot for parking. Has that been an issue before?
So they also use the gravel area behind, not on, it's opposite of Main Street. I don't know.
Behind Ace,
Yes,
that
behind
spot.
Ace, that area. So they park around, and it's not an event where people stay the whole time. So they're passing by. They stop by, read the resources, and then pick up their free items, their informational packets, and then they head out.
It's like a grab and go event. You just
Yeah,
pop in and pop out.
but I don't know if you folks have seen the food bank distributing food at the high school is a grab and go event. And there's cars lined up around the block, so.
Was there any
Last year
complaints
was-
last year about
No,
parking?
We had our
or-
debrief, and they said it worked out just fine.
Okay.
So at the same time, I know that there are other events that are being planned that we'll be bringing to council also. So I believe it's the color run is also that day. So you have people in different areas, and it's not all at once, just so stop and go. And last year it was good. It was just, there wasn't an overflow.
What day of the week is it?
So that's a Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Did I get,
I motion to
Motion,
approve the
okay.
facility use
we
agreement
got a
authorizing
first and
use.
second?
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carries. Okay, another facility use?
The Othello Greater Chamber of Commerce is planning to host a back-to-school movie night at Kiwanis Park, Saturday, August 29th. This community event will feature vendors with a family-friendly outdoor movie. The setup will begin at 1 p.m. The event time starts at 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And cleanup and breakdown will begin immediately after the movie concludes. There's a special event fee of $143.25. Additional requested items total $156 and a damage deposit of $541.25. Staff recommends the city council approve the facility use agreement for the back to school movie night. And at this time, they don't know what movie they're going to be playing because they annually do a poll. They have the community vote.
Do we know what movies they're choosing from?
So we typically, do you want me to come up or just?
Yeah, I would like to know, just so that we can know it would be one of the whatever.
Better not be R.
Yeah, so every year we do a community poll about a month before, and we pick three kind of back to school themed movies that are popular. And then we put out a poll, we leave it open for a couple of weeks, and then whoever the community votes for is the movie that we will show. So it's kind of we like to include the community, so we don't know until probably a week or two before the event itself. But we promote it all month long and we put out the polls. And normally the community does a great job about voting. So we do the same for the back to school movie night and the fall festival, because we also have a movie for that one. And that's kind of how we've selected the movie. In the fall, though, we do try and choose a family-friendly Halloween theme movie.
You don't know right now, like what choices are getting put out to
No, not yet. But we will start posting next week, August 1st, the end of this week.
So it'll be rated G or
Yes.
PG.
Normally we do G or PG. In the past, I think last year we did 6 movies and then we did top 3 and then people voted then we had the poll just for the top 3. So we try to give them a few options.
Okay. So I need a motion for the chamber for the movie night.
I motion to approve the facility use agreement authorizing the city property for Greater Othello Chamber of Commerce for the back to school movie night.
Got a first?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. One more facility use agreement. Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival.
Othello Chamber is requesting approval to host the Family Fall Festival Saturday, October 17th at Kiwanis Park. The community event will feature a variety of vendors, including an inflatable bounce house, games, pumpkin painting, and a trunk or treat. The committee will conclude the event with a family-friendly outdoor movie. Their setup will begin at noon. Event time will begin at 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. with cleanup and breakdown immediately after. The event fee is $143.25. Additional requested items total is $156 with a damage deposit of $541.25. Staff recommend the city council approve the facility use agreement with the Chamber Family Fall Festival.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the facility use agreement with the Othello Chamber of Commerce and the Fall Festival.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion? Got a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? I'll wait for Councilmember Spore. We got a first and a second. Did you have any further discussion on the? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. Thank you. Okay, now we will go on to Robin, Animal Shelter Bid Award.
Okay, so the original bid for this was, we were looking at doing all of the infrastructure, the sewer, water, it's actually a septic system, water, power that needs to go in for this project. When we started doing the engineer's estimate, hiring someone to install a sewer and water service was going to send the bill much higher. So I talked to my public works guys and they agreed that they can install the service for both. So that saves the animal shelter, our fund for that, a great deal of money. So that's why we went with just getting the fence done. And we're coordinating, making sure that the connections from outside the fence, inside the fence are done before the fence goes up. So that's already being underway. So July 23rd, we opened bids. We only got 2 bids. One was for $68,652.90, and the other one was $101,897.35. My estimate was $112,000, so we're coming in $43,000 under that. The lowest bid for the project was submitted by Cortez Fencing LLC from Moses Lake. This bid was 20 minutes late. This is not a sealed bid, so if you choose to accept that bid, it is within our rights to do so. Both contractors are in good standing with Department of Revenue and Department of L&I, so either one is qualified. This one is just much cheaper. You're looking at $30,000 cheaper to go with the late entry. Original budget for this whole project is $340,000. So the remaining funds will be for the connections and any shelters that we can afford. So staff recommends that the city council award the project to Cortez Fencing at the bid amount of $68,652.90.
This is only for fencing.
Correct.
I'll make the motion to award the Othello Animal Shelter to Cortez Fencing LLC in the amount of $68,652.90.
Second.
We got a first and second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I'm out of the loop on this animal shelter. Where and what's the scope?
So we purchased 77 acres on Lee, and we did a binding site plan and delineated acreage that the city is going to want to maintain, 25 acres for the water treatment plant and 3 acres for it's the animal shelter and future. So the animal shelter is going to be put on 1 acre of that 3 acre parcel, and it leaves us room for potential expansion of that or a dog park out off of Lee.
A brand new building?
So we are doing, they're kind of like a portable. They come as, they're all together, and you can pick the size of dog kennels. So they can be small dog kennels or they can be larger dog kennels. So the average is 8 dog kennels per portable, and they come out with their own power, water, everything. So you drop them on a concrete pad, we connect them, they're ready to go. So then we can build them out. Our original contract with the animal shelter was that we would provide space for 32 dogs. So that's our goal, but we needed to see how much of this $340,000 goes into water, sewer, fencing before we start installing buildings. So this will make it so I believe we can install 2 right off the bat, and then we'll have to start looking for additional funding.
The buildings will include an administrative office and.
So it includes a bathroom, but currently it looks like we're going to see if we can get one of the shed that will work as an office that we can also have bathrooms in.
And a question, why is fencing up front instead of after we install?
What do you mean?
Well, normally a construction, you're going in and out, and why put the fence up?
So my guys are already working on getting quotes for we looked at all the piping and everything. We already have the valves. Everything is ready to be installed. We just want to coordinate it so all the construction is happening at the same time.
So I just want to understand, you're going to be pouring pads in and getting ready to bring these portable buildings in?
No, we're going to put in sewer, water, power, and a fence, and then we will order the buildings. We're going to reach out and find out how much lead time there is on the buildings. I don't know how long it takes to get them here.
Okay, I just visualize bringing these buildings in, and they're gonna run over the fence. I don't know why we're building the fence first.
It's gates. They're gated. The fence is gated, so you can bring those in, drop them on. It's an acre. There's plenty of room to move those things.
Are you gonna fence the full acre?
Not the, yes, the full acre.
Wow.
Because if a dog gets loose as they're bringing it into the shelter, they want to make sure that they can maintain it.
Everybody's on board with that? Okay.
This is a fulfillment with the
Yeah, fulfills
handsome
contract.
paws
Yeah.
contract that the previous council has.
I mean, your
It's
question
like
is
they
just
do
why are
need
we
it,
fencing
yes.
first instead of after?
Yeah,
right?
I just don't want trucks
Yeah.
saying, oh, I can't back in there because there's a fence there or something.
I'm assuming it's got massive
be.
gates that can open for in and out.
Okay. We have a first and second. We've had for any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion so carries. Now, Chief McFarland, you have a proposed ordinance that bring in to the council for review.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I did this draft copy of an e-bike ordinance. I just wanted to present it as information. It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated to put together, so for that I apologize. I put this together with the goal of making things easily enforceable the best we can. And what I kind of felt fit looking at other ordinances, I looked at a lot of different ordinances across the state, and I thought this fit the best. I'll just go over key points I think the ordinance has, and then open it up for discussion. I'm open to input or a different direction if we want to go that way. The first key point I want to bring up is it keeps class 1 and class 2 e-bikes legal in streets and bike lanes. The ordinance also clearly defines what an e-bike is and what an e-motorcycle is. It places reasonable restrictions, in my opinion, on class 3 e-bikes. It prohibits electronic motorcycles from sidewalks, trails, parks, and other restricted areas. It establishes a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on sidewalks and shared use paths. It requires riders to yield to pedestrians, requires helmets for young riders and class 3 riders. It prohibits illegal modified e-bikes, and it creates a civil penalty with it. And that's basically the highlights. The big things, in my opinion, is the speed limit, the prohibited use in our city parks, and the helmet laws are the big things for 16 and under. But I'm open to any kind of feedback. I can make adjustments and bring it back to next council meeting.
I have a question about what is it, class 1 and class 2 e-bikes?
Yeah.
When those are on Main Street, there's not a bike lane for them. Are those the circumstance where when there's nowhere for them to be on their bike, they're allowed on the sidewalk? Or how would we combat that?
Can you say that one more time? There's
So
no
Main
bike
Street-
lane on.
Yeah, so Main Street doesn't have any bike lanes from what I remember. So like my son has what would be the classification of a class 1 e-bike. So when he's on his e-bike on Main Street, I tell him to be on the sidewalk because there's not a bike lane for him. So are we gonna put something that when a bike lane is not available in a heavy trafficked area, then being on the sidewalk is a safer option? Or, I mean,
I think that's very reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it says in here though that they can be on a sidewalk as long as they don't go
They're
more than
yielding to the
15.
Class 1
Well,
would be
they just can't,
allowed.
they can't go more than 15 miles an hour.
As long as it's 15 and
So-
under, they can be on.
Yeah, but it's in
sidewalks.
here that they're allowed on the sidewalk.
okay,
where
perfect.
there
Maybe
is
I
a
missed it. I was just kind of skimming through it, so I just wanted to ask when we have
It's
that
in the speed
situation.
limit section.
Okay,
So,
I think that I really like the classifications.
Mhm.
I think they're simple. I think the hardest thing with any time you do any sort of ordinance where there's rules related, it's making it enforceable and easily enforceable. I think the classifications are simple. I think it's straightforward. I think the explanation of what an e-bike is versus what an electric motorcycle is simple. I think the safety rules are reasonable. Actually, I read through it and I was had my pen and paper out and I was all ready to have 8 million ideas, and I have none. I think it's well put together.
So my only question is not about e-bikes, but about other electronic, like the scooters and the electronic skateboards and whatever. And I'm just wondering if there's a way that those can get lumped in here with the rules of the speed limit and those kinds of things, similar to the class 1 and class 2.
It'd just take me more time. I'm not too familiar on the skateboards and the scooters as much. I did most of the research on the bikes
But I
and
mean, maybe it can just be one additional section that says other electronic modes of electric, non-vehicle,
same-
non-vehicular modes of transportation.
Because I know the scooters can go pretty fast.
Yeah, my son has one and
Yeah.
it's not very expensive and it can go 20 miles an hour too.
Yeah.
They can go really fast. So,
To the council, my only concern was the 15 miles an hour might be a little too fast for sidewalks with a lot of our older walkers.
the other question that I have is when we are saying they absolutely can't be in the parks or anything anywhere, we're going to have kids that are riding those bikes or whatnot to the park, to go to the park. So do they just have to get off and walk it once they get there? And I have never biked to one of our parks. So do we have bike racks for them, or are they just going to be trying to find a place for their bikes?
I do have a question on that to add with Kelly. So like my son can switch off and be solely pedal on his. So is there, I mean, that might be harder to enforce because there are e-bikes that you can switch the motor completely off and it's full pedal assist.
a lot of this is going to be very hard to
Yeah.
enforce to include the speed limits. And that's why I like the all or nothing can't be in the parks if there's a motor on it, because we won't be able to police whether they're
Pedal
pedaling or not.
assisting, yeah.
And even from a distance, we probably won't. I mean, it's going to be
You'll have
complaint.
to see them pedaling, yeah.
Probably going to be complaint driven. Someone calls, hey, these 4 kids are ripping through the park, whoever going through the park at a high rate of speed. It's going to be very difficult to scan one of our parks and be like, well, he's not pedaling or he
Yep.
is, and even identifying what they are. So it's going to be
Tricky.
very difficult either way. As far as the parking, I know some cities do provide, I don't know if we have that in our parks now, bike racks, but I do know some cities, when I was looking at these ordinances, they did provide e-bike parking for them. That's something we could further look at. I think that's a pretty good point. If we're saying, hey, you can't be in the park, but not allowing them to store them in a safe location so they're not getting taken. But that'd be something we could look at later. But I think that's a good point.
How about when these people are, they're popping wheelies going down the street?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
That
see
falls
them
into reckless.
in there.
There's a reckless definition in the ordinance, and I think that easily falls under that.
Okay.
Reckless due regard to safety, and I think popping wheelies falls in.
Chief McFarland, going back to the city, going back to the parks situation. And I think that, again, I can't stress enough how hard it is to make enforceable laws and easily enforceable laws. I looked at the parks and you and I talked beforehand. I said, this is probably where you might get a little pushback, but I actually like the way that this was put together. Is it inconvenient? It is inconvenient for people with e-bikes, but my bigger concern is actually public safety in this regard. There is just too much dangerous stuff being done in those parks. They're too
I agree.
packed, and unfortunately, it does make some inconvenience. But when you're on an e-bike, you can get around to the other side pretty darn quick of just about any one of our parks. You run over a kid going through the middle of that thing too fast, and we got a real problem on our hands. And I think that's a bigger thing to prevent. So I actually liked how you did this, and I think it's also very easy for the police to black and white. I mean, it's hard to make black and white rules, but this is a pretty good one.
Thank you for that. I read some ordinances that I thought were relatively complicated. They would say, you can be on the park's paths, but you can't be on the grass, or you can't be on the
I'm glad you didn't do those.
And I think that makes it very difficult to make it enforceable at all. And so it's a big deal that people can't ride these in the parks.
Yeah.
But it makes it easily enforceable that way.
I'm going to add one other thing that jumped out at me when I read through these. I thought it's granted a lot of freedom while providing some more safety. So I really, like I said, I was pretty impressed with it. I was really trying to find something to change, but I have nothing.
No, I agree. It was actually very well written.
The one thing when we first talked about this is that I thought about riding in the parks, and it's grandpa with a bad knee that rides his e-bike, class 1 e-bike, over to be with his grandkids on the playground. And I thought, they're going to counsel me. I know it. So you're saying no e-bikes in the park, is that correct?
That's what I proposed, yes, and just for the sake of make it easily enforceable. Otherwise, I just think it'd be so complicated if we said, hey, you can be on the path, but you can't be in the grass, or you can't be on the ball field. I think it just makes it much easier if it's all or nothing. I know it's a big deal, but I'm just looking at it for the sake of enforcement for us.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be difficult.
Path behind Walmart, is that a city path?
I think it's open to the public.
Sure, it's a shared use.
Yeah,
And that's
shared use.
defined.
Is that banned e-bikes too then?
No.
So just to be clear on this address, if a kid's riding down the street going 20 miles an hour and he has a helmet on, he's obviously under 16, that's illegal under this? They have to be 16, motorcycle endorsed, and
So yeah, so in the definition, there's the e-bikes and then there's the e-motorcycles. And the e-motorcycles under even state law, and it's defined in the ordinance here, what's what, that all falls under their motorcycles. And so yes, if it's a 16-year-old on a motorcycle, and how you know that the difference is one has pedals and one doesn't. And so there's young kids out riding these right now. And if it doesn't have pedals, it's classified as a motorcycle. And so it's the same rules as a motorcycle. You can't be on sidewalks. You have to have insurance, driver's license, helmet. It all falls under that.
but a class 3 can go down the road as a bicycle?
Class 3s are very, very uncommon. And I put restrictions in here. I don't have all those memorized, but those, let me look real quick.
Well, I've seen some, and somebody mentioned wheelies. I saw that the other day. But some of these bikes, not motorcycles, they're going way more than 20 miles
Yes,
an
and I
hour.
learned looking at this, it's very easy for people to modify the electronics on them. Very, very easy. So I made that illegal as well.
Yeah.
But you can
Saw
make
that in there.
Yeah, it's very common. People change. I don't know how they do it, but I read a lot of articles that it's not too hard to make a class 1 a class 3 or make it go above the 28 limit or 20 mile an hour limit.
So again, I got to be clear on these things. A kid on a class 3 who has a helmet on, not 16, ripping down the road, what law or ordinance is he breaking?
This one.
This is in there just based on speed or
class 3? Yeah.
Falls in class 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the classes should have.
Class 3 can't be on the sidewalk. They have to be on the road or in the bike lane.
And I'm not sure, even on a regular bike, if I come, 7th has a bike lane, if I come down 7th south and approach the stoplight, do I become a pedestrian all of a sudden, got to go push the pedestrian button and go in the crosswalk, or am I a vehicle on the road?
Rules of the road is the vehicles are supposed to yield to, but to be safe, I suggest stopping and looking around and not just going through intersections and stuff like that. But yeah, you would have the right of way by law.
But should I be all of a sudden turn into pedestrian and push the button and use the crosswalk, or can I sit there and wait for the light?
Well, if you're biking on the road, it should be road rules.
Yeah.
So you follow the light and you cross like a car. If you're biking on the sidewalk, you need to get off and walk your bike across the road. Because then you're a pedestrian.
What I see here, Chief McFarland, is in the future, maybe some something for the parents, education.
Yeah, and that,
A lot of parents that doesn't know the laws and the regulations, they just go by this. And maybe that might be something good for your department to put on here in the future.
Yeah.
Would be classes or
Like
something to
e-bike
help
night or
educate
something.
the parents on
Outreach.
e-bikes.
to me, this is going to be a big change for our community. And to me, just, if we pass it, I think there's going to have to be an educational process, lots of warnings in the beginning, lots of getting out, contacting people, lots of advertising on our social media
Yes.
platforms, flyers even. And so it's going to be an educational process, in my opinion, because it's going to be a very big change. And so I'm going to direct our officers to have some leniency and lean towards getting compliance. And that's not always through tickets, that's getting out and talking to people. And so I kind of have a plan for that.
Okay.
I'm open to input on how we do that as well.
I don't know how realistic this would be, but I know like when I was just off the top of my, when I was a first time mom, I didn't know much about installing my car seat and the fire department helped me out.
Mhm.
Could people maybe bring their e-bike in and ask what kind of classification it is so that they know how to follow the ordinance? Would that be something we could maybe do?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, people are actually doing that already.
Okay.
People are stopping cars and saying, hey, is this legal? Is this not? And we're getting a lot of questions about that already. So
Okay, that would be
definitely
great.
something
Yeah,
we
and
can do.
then maybe we can advertise it that way, come in, we'll check it out, tell you what it is, and then you follow the law that way.
So if everybody's got their questions, or if they've got further questions or comments, take them to Chief McFarland, and then we will look at bringing this ordinance back at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Have we got any unfinished business?
I got one for Robin. The light at First and Main. People have been complaining about that one now. It's like changing when nobody's there.
Okay, I will we reset it because for a while the left turn north and south wouldn't change. You go straight, but you couldn't turn left. The left turn wouldn't, would never trigger it. So I will have him look at it and make sure that it's on. If you get these questions, give me a phone call and let me know what's going on, because he can go out there and we can look at the record and it'll tell us where the faults are. And so sometimes it just takes resetting it. So but we don't always notice the glitches. I mean, it happens. So I know that that's an issue. We're looking at upgrading all of the sensors. So currently they're in the ground and we're looking at getting the ones that are up on the lights themselves instead, because they're more accurate.
Okay. Thank you.
I know one of the issues on that intersection is people heading west on Main and turning onto First. They cut that corner and they actually trigger the light. So if there's nobody there, but they're triggering the light.
Okay.
And I think at one time there was actually yellow post along there.
Oh,
so
to keep
people
you,
would
so you actually had to go
turn
out farther.
wide.
Okay.
And I think it's the same thing when they come north on First to turn right. They go to, it seems to be skinny there, they turn right and they actually trigger it. So they're turned right, but they've triggered it. So we have to stop on Main and there's nobody there.
So I also, if you were done, I had one as well. I'm thinking maybe it's another sensor, but this one's going to be the pedestrian light on Main and 14th going up towards Walmart. When you push the button to cross on that side by the canal where the sidewalk is, it takes forever to come on, which, I mean, you have to wait, but it's turning to the red hand like 5 seconds in once it's telling you to cross. So I don't know if there's a sensor issue. I've gone through there twice myself and I did have somebody complain. So I walked through that path and it does cut off really quickly.
Okay.
A lot quicker than the other intersections do for the pedestrians. So then you feel like you kind of have to rush across.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe it's a sensor as well.
Right. Or just a timing thing.
Yeah.
So we'll look at the timing
Okay.
on that one. Because I
Thank
know
you.
we adjusted that one for school traffic. So we did some adjustments on there. And so I haven't heard good, bad, otherwise,
Okay.
Since we've done that, but I'll make sure that
It
that
just seems
didn't
like it's
affect
short.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's either that, Alma, or the world's trying to tell you to
I
get
gotta run
quicker.
faster.
Okay, is there any?
One
Unfinished, okay.
I think it would be good for the community to get a pool report on what activity sometime in the future. I've gotten a lot of questions, and I think for the community to know that there is some things going on and how to put that together, I think would be beneficial.
We've had a lot of activity. Actually,
Yep.
we discuss it every week. And I'm hoping to get together with the pool committee next week after Aaron's back. And we will have a lot of answers for the community at that time. So it is an ongoing discussion because it is very important to this council that we do get it open. And we've had a chance to take a look at it and look at some different options. And so, okay. Any more unfinished business? We will go on to new business.
I have something I'd like to bring up. Kind of going to what Chris was saying, people have a lot of questions and it's really hard to get the information out.
Mhm.
And I don't know if there's a way maybe we look at a contract of sorts or a position. I don't know what the answer is, but somebody that can do public communications so that the information that needs to get out is getting out more timely. It's hard. I'm sure it's hard enough for the staff to do what they're doing and then also have to do social media communications and public communications and notices. But I don't know if that could be helpful, if it's something that has already been discussed and it's just not suitable for Othello, but somebody that can do more of the public communications of what's happening.
There has been a request, so
Okay.
hopefully in budget time this year coming up, might see something go in that direction.
Okay.
But I know there's been a lot of requests from staff also in the same of getting publicity out, getting word out, everything else for the stuff what we're doing. But it is going to require additional manpower to do
Okay.
that. So when it comes budget time, remember that.
So,
Is that killing you, Mark? Did I kill you with that?
Councilman Carmona, are you talking like, are you looking for like maybe something like a monthly report, something can be expected at a certain
Maybe even
amount of
something
time?
shorter than monthly.
Maybe a
Yeah.
weekly
Yeah,
report,
just
something that happens at the same time regularly.
currently, so
If-
that is a
if-
current
If they had that,
communication.
then the community would, you wouldn't have to promote it as much. The community would know, up on Fridays, this
is
report's
gonna
gonna
be
come
out.
out. I'm gonna go look
Yes.
at it at these sources.
Yes, and I don't even necessarily mean strictly social media because there are people who don't have access to it, but just a good way that we can find to get it all out somehow.
Since the council meets bi-monthly, I think doing weekly is probably asking a lot.
Oh, yeah, and
But I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying. But
you
if
could
it's
do this
someone's
pretty
sole job,
simply.
it might be something that's easier.
Yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't be asking a lot if it's, or again, if we do a contract with I don't know, like a marketing company, that's their job. That might be not of a big ask.
Or contract a journalist to just do it.
Yes,
That's, I mean,
something.
that's a real easy way. There's a lot of journalists looking for jobs. that are
Not
pretty
having a
talented at that.
newspaper, it's hard to get this information out there, so
Yep.
something like that, I think, would just be really beneficial for the community.
Mark wants a consultant.
Do you want to consult?
That's why I was
I will
suggesting
consult
hire a journalist, so it wasn't a consultant.
I mean, I will
Okay.
say, like, I think the city's done a really good job putting out summaries after our
Yes.
meetings. I think that's been really helpful for the public. I think part of the issue is that there's multiple different city pages, right? There's
Mhm.
different
Yes.
areas on social media. And so then something will be said on this page and it'll kind of have a bunch of commentary. And then something will get said over on this page and it'll have a bunch of commentary. And those pages are not like the public city page.
Mhm.
even.
With our main website,
So
yeah.
there's questions out there that nobody from the city's even seeing
Yes.
to get answered. So I don't know what the answer is either. But we are already putting information out.
Yes.
And maybe it's something as easy as, if you don't have social media, maybe they're using the app or maybe they're going to our website.
Right.
Maybe some of those things can be like in brief every couple of weeks after a meeting, like this is where we're at. These are the things we're working on. This is whatever. And this is where you can look to find the next update on the pool issue.
Right.
Or whatever we're looking at.
Exactly.
Okay. Any more unfinished business? Just
I thought, were we on new business?
new business.
Short discussion while we have Valerie here on our enclosed soccer. At Lions Park, you're probably too young to know, but that rink up there was originally an ice rink. And then they put a fence around it and it was used a lot for roller hockey.
Yep.
And now I go by there and there's like 40 guys there, members of our community playing soccer in there or waiting to go in. And then I drive over to our fancy Kiwanis Park. What do they call it? Futsal? And there's nobody there. Have people given feedback of the problem with that, or is that your observation, or what have you heard?
I haven't heard anything, and it's available, so I'm not sure. I'm curious if it'd be interesting to talk to some of those guys why they're playing up there versus at Kiwanis. I don't know if it's more convenient or if they don't like the flooring, because we did put down all the striping and stuff is on actual
It's like a sport court.
yeah.
That's why we haven't taken it over.
I was going to ask, why don't you
The
guys
hockey
use
players
it?
were going to take it over. You know what the problem is with it, Mark? It's not new. That group has been playing out there for 15, 20 years. They're just used to going there because we used to trade off days with them when we were playing a lot more. So I think it's more tradition than it is anything else, and they're used to playing there.
I mean, it seems like if we were to do another one, that should be fairly simple, a pad with a fence around it, if that's what they like playing in. But it was just something I noticed.
Wasn't it rented at some point when it was newer? Didn't they do like a mini tournament on the Kiwanis Park one?
That one, there was options to rent it.
Okay, that's what it
So-
was.
And then open to the public, so kids would show up. And it depends on the season. So when the young kids have their season going, then they're stopping by. Just depends.
Just depends on what time of year.
Because you have at Tigueras, you have a lot of adults that are also going over there. Every Saturday, Sunday, there's games going on over there. So a lot of the younger kids were using the futsal.
Okay.
But you can rent any of the facilities.
Right.
I mean, if you wanted to
I
make
just
sure
thought
that we
there
had to
was
do
a
it for hockey
tournament of
for a
sorts
while.
there.
We paid for a day, one day a month or one day a week. And we were renting that for a long time when we're a little bit more active than we are now.
How do we get ice hockey? How do we get an ice rink back?
Oh.
I had an
I
ice
wanna
rink that
know.
I brought to the city, actually, and they rejected it.
So it went to Moses Lake
It went to Moses Lake instead, and they didn't name it after me.
and it's gone
But they
now.
did name the bathroom after me.
I have one more,
Look
Ken.
that up.
Okay.
There is speculation, dare I say, a
Over the
rumor,
urinal.
that an entity is looking to buy up land around Bruce to put in a data center. This is speculation at this point, unsubstantiated, and obviously a county issue. However, my issue is water.
Yeah, we don't have the water for it.
If that's pulling out of an aquifer that comes to us, or I was told by a hydrologist when I was on council 20 years ago that we're sitting on a pond and the ledge is basically where Highway 17 is. So on this side of Highway 17 is one source of water, and on that side of Highway 17 is another source of water. And we have one well over supposedly on that side. So I just Google, I was curious, and I know kids don't Google nowadays, but they use chat AI or whatever, I don't know what it is. But it says data centers consume millions of gallons of water, primarily for serving cooling units. I'm sorry, it's just a picture. With large facilities using up to 5 million gallons daily. I don't know how, Quincy has a data center. Are they using
have 4.
5
They have
million gallons a day? I don't even know how you do that.
With recirculating.
Recirculating the water.
Yeah, they've changed how the water demand
Yes.
has gone.
Not actually pumping that much out.
If I could,
Initially, though.
if I could add something to this, this actually is currently being reviewed by the Planning Commission right now for feasibility. You're right, we don't have the water right now, but we also have an ASR plant that could be coming in the future, and that could change the amount of water available. So the Planning Commission is right now reviewing feasibility of data centers for Othello to make the best recommendations. That recommendation may very well be no data center, but there might be some opportunities there. I mean, when you look at Quincy, for example, right now we are struggling to pay for our pool. Well, the data centers paid for Quincy's pool, Quincy's City's Hall, Quincy's new high school, and their library. So there's a lot of tax revenues that come in for that. Everyone is looking for monies. And if it's feasible, it might be a possibility for Othello, but it might not. But we should have that answer before somebody brings it to us and we scramble to find it. So that's what the Planning Commission is doing right now.
I know there's a couple of cities in Tri-Cities that are doing moratoriums to stop it just so they can analyze it and see, but
we're going to be ahead of that.
I just thought we better bring it up on the radar that these things are coming home to roost.
The Port District, I know, is entertaining a business out there that is very close to finalizing it, but it is not a data center.
Okay.
It does have water use, but it also has discharge use. So that's what they're currently working on, is wastewater also out there. They are putting a new water tower out there to help their supply issues that they currently have. So any more new business? I just have one thing to bring up. I just want to congratulate Othello Little League U10 on their great accomplishment. It wasn't number one, but going number two in the state, especially going up against Seattle. They did a wonderful job. They're should be very much congratulated, and hope to see a few of them here at a future meeting to recognize their accomplishment. So,
yeah.
Okay, with no further business, meeting's adjourned.
Great. And bring the kids.
See you all later.